Good Monday morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. It is the 27th of October. This video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. It is purely to demonstrate how I try to read the market using technical analysis and my experience through 3 decades. And let's start with the semiconductor sector that closed at an all-time high Friday. It was partly lifted by Nvidia, but Nvidia did not make a new all-time high, so it was mostly lifted by other stocks like AMD and some other minor semiconductor companies that lifted. It seems like money has flowed to some of the minor stocks like AMD, ARM, and a few others, Applied Digital and so on, that has lifted the market higher in the semiconductor industry. But what is also interesting is that this early morning we have the pre-market here as illustrated by the US Nasdaq 100 CFD has lifted and is trading 1.2% higher than Friday close. So that is what a move it is, and we can see here it was the Nasdaq that closed Friday also at a new all-time high there, 25,419 almost. So still very strong move indeed. Also, the other indices, of course, were higher. We had a new all-time high close on S&P500 here Friday, so the bullish trend seems to continue, and I think actually it will continue throughout the year. Of course, there will be some setbacks and all, but in general, a very strong market. Also, Dow Jones closed higher, and the earnings we have seen coming in from US companies has so far been fairly robust, so that is lifting the market also. Here we can see also the US 500 pre-market, it's trading higher, a new all-time high here, and it will stay there for quite some time. So there is some divergence here on the RSI. You can also, if we jump back to the Nasdaq 100 CAS index, you can see that the RSI has been declining. So there it is stretched, but again, trust the trend, follow the trend, and for now it is in a bullish trend, and it will stay so until 24,185, and there's a bit of way down to go there. So I needed to have a top and reversal indicator in place before I think it is over. But for now, it looks fairly strong market indeed. Also in Asia, higher, we have Hang Seng 1% higher, closing above this little resistance there, confirming or establishing its uptrend. If RSI gets back above 60 threshold, and I think it will eventually, then it has further confirmed the bullish trend. We have resumed uptrend. You see a higher high, a little bit lower there, and now a higher high. So also fairly strong in Asian session. Nikkei especially with a new all-time high here is the Nikkei future that is trading well above 50,000 now, and seems to be closing above today, so also fairly strong there. There is divergence on the RSI, as you can see, but for now, trust the trend, and we can see here it has broken above its falling trend line, so also a testament that we could see higher levels on the Nikkei in the coming days and weeks. In European session, was a little bit higher Friday, not much here on EuroStoxx50, but looking at the pre-market also, we can see it's pushing higher here on EuroStoxx50 CFD/future, and I think we will see it pushing higher throughout the day when the real traders are coming in. DAX still below the 24,340 resistance there, But here pre-market we can see that it's flirting with it, and it's flirting again, spiked above the 61.8 retracement. We're still in a positive sentiment, and here there's actually no divergence on the DAX index, so I think we'll see it pushing higher. Also, when the real trading in the cash stock market will open a little bit later. On the FX markets, different picture. A lot of major crosses have been trading more or less unchanged. Here we have your dollar that is still slightly under pressure. You see below the falling trend line there, below the moving average 55, 121 also. But it hasn't taken out 115.40 support here. If it does that, well, then we're looking at 114 area, possibly lower to 113. If it starts moving above the falling trend line, maybe it can turn around. Negative sentiment indicating lower levels, but it hasn't really materialized. Also in cable or sterling dollar, dipping a little bit lower, trading around these lows here. I still believe we could see it low. We can see the 55 turning down here, and the 100 also declining. Negative sentiment on the RSI should indicate we could see lower levels on the sterling dollar. Euro sterling is pushing above its resistance. It closed above Friday, and it is open lower this morning, but again pushing above at the 786, actually very close Friday to the peak there. And we are in a bullish trend. Positive sentiment on the RSI indicating we are likely to push higher on the euro sterling towards 88, possibly higher here. As long as it stays above 86.55, then it seems to be headed that way. Yen pairs, Friday also continued its trend a little bit, spiking higher here, testing the peak there back from early October. So also positive sentiment, but a little, no, it's not, no divergence, sorry, there's no divergence. So it is indicating we could see dollar yen higher here towards 155. However, maybe a little bit of a setback could be seen before the next move high. It is a little bit stressed now, but let's see. I think it will push higher there in the coming week or so. Euro yen, also more or less the same picture really, flirting with the previous peak there. I think it will push higher. Positive sentiment on the RSI indicating likely higher levels towards 180. Yeah, and the bullish trend, as you can see, higher high, high low, and now possibly higher high. Aussie yen flirting with the actually at the moment trading above the 786 retracement there at 99.94. Also a bullish, strong bullish move, positive sentiment, no divergence. I think we'll see it pushing higher. It's gapping here, so unless it closes this gap here, then I think we will see it pushing higher towards 101 and possibly also taking it out. So that will be key here, I think, the next few days. But if it closes this gap here, well, then we could see a correction. We won't see a trend change. I don't think that, but I think we will see it pushing higher after a possibly correction. So stay alert there. The sterling yen is lagging a little bit, but trading around the 61.8 retracement and resistance here at around 203.50. I think it will also push higher. We can see there's positive sentiment, no divergence, indicating we are likely to push higher here. 205.300. 205.30 is the peak here, but it needs to take out the 786 retracement first. If it takes out the lows, you can see there's been quite a bit of volatility this early morning. If it takes out the lows today, then well maybe could see a setback, but still I don't think we'll see trend change. All moving averages are rising. Underlying trend is bullish. Aussie dollar seems to really breaking out of this now. Pushed this range that we talked about for some time. Pushed up to the 55 moving average. Got rejected to begin with. Can it push higher? If it can start pushing up here in the cloud area, then we need the RSI to get back above a 60 threshold to establish and confirm a bullish trend. Seems to be some underlying bullish trend here with the 200 moving average coming up and some strong support in this region around 64.5. So it formed maybe kind of a base here. Let's see here the next few days. If it takes out the peak today, then I think we'll see it pushing up into the cloud, up to the 786 retracement at 65.88 area. Dollar Canada sliding back, as we have talked about also last week that it could possibly do. I think it will slide back to the 38.2 here at the 139.45. Could dip lower, but then we have the 55 coming up. We still have positive sentiment, but it is declining at the moment. So we are in for a correction there. If it takes out and suddenly turns around the spike up there for Friday, then we could see the correction being over, and then it could push higher. Sterling Canada being sold off, continuing. I actually did expect a little bit here late last week that we could see a turnaround, but with this move here, massive volatility again. I can't stress it enough. Sterling Canada, really extremely volatile pair to trade. So it is a fairly dangerous one to trade. So it's one of the pairs that is the hardest to read, I think, also given the volatility, but also with the spread between the buy and the sell sometimes, but very volatile pair indeed. Now it seems like we are going to dip to these lows here around 185.60. And then we could have a bounce. Key will be, will RSI close below 40 threshold, or will it bounce off and then we'll move back up here. If it takes out the spike up from Friday, and these spikes can be used for trading. So if it takes out that, well, at 187.20, then we could see that turnaround here. So it will be crucial here today. What will it actually do? Euro Swiss bouncing slowly, a lot of volatility also this early morning, probably because it's been a quite thin market with low liquidity, almost spiking up to the 38.2 retracement. I think it can actually continue a bit more here the next few days. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Again, we're in a bouncing mode. There's still negative sentiment on the RSI, but they just moved back above 40 threshold at the moment. However, if it takes out the lows down here just above 92, then we could see a push below 92 to 90, 91, 75, and possibly lower. Dollar Swiss, not really doing much, also given that your dollar hasn't done much, and your Swiss, in the bigger picture, hasn't really done much despite the bouncing. We are still flirting with these 50% here. I still think we could see a spike up to maybe 80. I'm not quite sure it will actually materialize. We are in a bearish mood here, and but apart from our side, that actually did close above a 60 threshold there. So a little bit indecisive. If it takes out the lows here at 78.70, well, then expect a push lower towards 78 and possibly lower. And that could materialize, and this is how you can work with it. That could materialize if that little spike down there is taking out 79.25. Always subtract a little bit if to the downside. Then I think we'll see these lows here come under pressure. The dollar index, massive volatility Friday, I would say. So it didn't get all the way down to these lows here. If it takes out that 97.80, then downtrend has resumed. If it takes 99.31 to the upside, well, then expect a push above 100. Gold and metals in general. Let's have a look at gold. So it's dancing around this 4,100 area here without really getting anywhere. So I know there's a lot of Fibonacci's here, so let's go through them. So basically we have the one that came all the way from down here. That's almost got a correction down to there, almost there. Didn't get all the way down there. So maybe we should delete that for now and then just look at what's going on the short term. So then we have this one here. So it actually reached the 786 retracement and then some, that a little bit lower, and then we had a bounce. And then I added a new one from the top to the bottom there and reached the 38.2 retracement. So what we actually need to see for a further bounce, then we need that level 4,162 to be taken out. then I think we'll see a push up to around 61.8 possibly at 4,237, maybe up to 4,300. If it takes out the 4,000, it actually didn't get all the way down to 4,000, 4,004. If it takes out that, then there's support here at 39.44 could come under pressure and maybe also be taken out. So keep an eye on that. Silver. Also dancing sideways really. It reached the 38.2 retracement of this entire uptrend there, and then it bounced a little bit, not much. It didn't get all the way up to that 38.2 retracement there. So maybe we could see, will it take out the low there at 47.45? If it does that, well, then we could see it down to around 45 level. Platinum has bounced stronger than the other two precious metals. Actually bouncing, you see, all the way up to 61.8 and a little bit further, and then set back. So now I want to see either it takes out that level at 16.62 or that it slides back. We are in a correction mode, but it needs to take out these and to further bounce higher there. And it is a little bit up in the air, a little bit in the limbo. I think if it takes out the lows here from the past few days, then we could see it sliding lower. But there's some underlying strong support in this region around 1500 there, as we can see. 55 moving average also coming up. Finally on copper, this morning is opening above 515, which is crucial, but it's more crucial that it will close above. So that would be key, and it hasn't taken out that spike up there, the peak there, so just below it spiked to that. So keep an eye on what will happen throughout the day. Will it close below? Then it's likely to slide back. I think it actually might close above today, maybe tomorrow, and then it will push higher, because we have a positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence. It's like indicating higher levels. WTI crude oil spiked spot on to the 61.8 retracement there, and that's sitting back, and I think it will now slide back here the next few days down to the 60 level again, unless it can close above this level and RSI can close above 60 threshold. I'm not quite sure it will do that. So, but keep an eye on if it takes out this spike up there Friday at what was it, 62.59 actually, so 2 cents from this. Then I think we'll see it pushing higher. Brent crude oil, same picture really. A little bit stretched there, also given that RSI is not above 60 threshold. I think it will slide back, but keep an eye on it. It could push higher though, so if you're trading that, so be cautious. On the gas market, the European nat gas is still just in this big range here, not really doing much. To the weaker side, I would say. US nat gas, a little bit different picture, but it is still the 360 resistance area that is key, and to the downside, a 289 there, that needs to be observed. Moving on to the interest rates, we have the yields bouncing here. US 10-year Treasury yields. We talked about it last week that it could do that, and I think it could bounce further, possibly up to 4.08%, which is a 61.8 retracement. However, the 21 coming down there, 21 moving average, but I think we could see it push up there. And then we have the 55 that is much stronger than 21, not really that strong. That kind of putting a lid on it. So in a bouncing mode for sure. In the European yields, very strong bounce there Friday, continuing this morning, and 265 is likely to be reached today. Could push all the way up to 61.8 here, 268, and I think that is in the cards at the moment. The UK, let's see, it's not really bouncing much, to be honest, but it seems like, it hasn't opened just yet. So I think we will see a bounce up to 450, 452 here, possibly today. Japanese yields also bounced a little bit, and it is still in this uptrend here, as we can see. So it is just pushing following that bullish trend there. Bitcoin also strong bounce and is testing the resistance there at 116,077. If it can really, it did spike above, but can it stay above and then push higher? I do think it will, but I need confirmation for now, and I haven't gotten it. Also, Ethereum pushing higher, resistance here at 4,282. That is key. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day, and talk to you again tomorrow.